We're here with Andrew Bell, Chairman of Red Rock Resources, a mineral exploration and development company with gold assets in Kenya and gold investments in Colombia and Costa Rica. Andrew, just give us a brief overview of your operations with Red Rock Resources.
Our main operations are gold now. Our people working in the office are working on our gold projects. The other assets we have are really investments. We have production just starting in Colombia from one mine called El Limon, which means the lemon, and we have another mine in Colombia about to start production, and then through our investment in another company, Ascot Mining, we have one gold mine just started operations in Costa Rica and another about to start.
Okay, so they're a producer, is that right, in Costa Rica?
Yes.
And why did Red Rock Resources shift their focus and move into operations for gold?
Well, there are two reasons. One is the obvious one, that we thought prospects for gold are good, and there are a number of reasons for that. Since you've heard them so many times before, I'm not going to rehearse them again. It's just a judgment call, but we think that long-term gold has good prospects. And the second reason is that you have to be a big company to mine lots of things, and in some commodities which are low priced, like iron ore, manganese, coal, you have to control your whole conveyor belt from the mine to the customer. In other words, you have to have a railway that's cheap. You have to have a port that can load. Gold is such a high value product that once you've mined it, you can take it out if necessary by helicopter. So you don't have a lot of the other problems that companies have to deal with when they start a mine.
Mm-hmm. Can you, you've moved into, you say that you're moving into production in Colombia as well. Can you just give us some idea of the timeline?
The timeline, well, we invested there in the late summer, and we lent $2 million to our partner there, over which we have a 51 to 55% option. And he's a good local partner, somebody we like working with, but that money was all then used to refurbish the plant and improve the health, safety aspects of the mine, and replace some parts that needed replacing. That's been a successful process. We've brought it in on time, not quite on budget, but definitely on time, and the return looks extremely good.
Okay, so if we jump forward and look at what might happen within a year, what do you think would happen with the production or operations in Colombia within a year?
Well, we've got a big site there, and having looked at other similar-sized operations, what we can see is that the scope, both with elements of the existing plant and on the site, for considerable expansion is there, and we can expand relatively cheaply. So we hope to double and then redouble production levels from the initial 150 tonnes a day.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we move to your operations in Kenya, can you give us an update on Migori?
Migori, well, we have there a farming interest in a 68 kilometre long gold belt, and this is a greenstone belt similar to those just south of the border in Tanzania, and we are just north of the border. In fact, we're only 20 kilometres away from Barrick's North Mara, which is a similar greenstone belt. We've been underexplored. We have 1.2 million ounces of indicated resource and an old VMS copper gold mine that was run by Falconbridge until the time of independence. And we have done extensive work over the last year, geophysics, mapping, data collection and data compilation, and we've now just started a drill program. We have a couple of drills there already. We will have one, then another, and so we'll end up, by the beginning of next year, we'll have 3, 4, potentially even 5 drills operating on different targets and different target categories, both on drilling out the existing resource, improving our understanding of structure and geology there, testing new targets, and then looking at some new areas of the license with our core drilling.
Okay, you've made a recent new investment with Ascot Mining in Costa Rica for gold. Can you give us some idea why you entered into that investment?
First of all, Ascot Mining needed the money. They're listed on Plus, which is always a disadvantage because it makes it very difficult to raise money. A year ago, they had a site disaster when their local partner locked them out just after they'd made all the investment, and just when they were about to turn the plant on, and then they'd have become a 50% partner rather than a contractor. And that looks like a a pretty illegitimate proceeding, and they've been chasing it through the courts and winning at every stage. But it left them up the creek without a paddle. So they've then managed to bring another asset into production this year, but they're short of money, and they had to pay that landowner. They'd fallen behind with the payments. The landowner had brought in one or two partners who were being aggressive about it. The company was in danger of losing that too, and then it really would have been pretty much curtains. So at very short notice, we were able to go in there with Tom Winifred's Tips.com and other investors introduced by him, and we rescued the company. And now we are, if we exercise our options, we are potentially going to be the biggest shareholder. And we get on well with the management. We visited their 3 or 4 properties there, one of which is in production, another just about to be, and another one, production's not far away. And we see considerable scope for cooperation and for cross-fertilization of ideas, expertise and personnel between there and Colombia.
So it could be a win-win for both companies.
Well, definitely a win for us, but I'd like to think a win for them as well.
So if we look at your investment with Jupiter Mines, what do you think the potential is? And talk about the potential, well, the royalty rights with Mount Ida.
Yeah, Jupiter Mines goes back to when we first listed, when we really spun Red Rock out of Regency Mines as an iron ore manganese explorer. We had some very good acreage with high surface samples, the right geology, the right areas, and we thought that this was something worth exploring. And we expected that because these are commodities that require a lot of infrastructure to get them to port and to customer, we would eventually need to have offtake contracts or a large company as our partner, probably Chinese. So we put this in a separate company. So that would be the vehicle for doing that. Well, what eventually happened is we ended up with a partner, but not the kind of partner we'd expected, perhaps, which was a Chinese partner. We ended up with Brian Gilbertson, who had run BHP, Billiton, put them together, and had run some other very large mining companies. Is, you know, the world's best, or arguably the best, mining entrepreneur and deal maker. And we're very lucky to get him and his team as a partner. Priyank there, absolutely great guy, comes from Vedanta, and with them we took over control of a company that we were already an investor in because we'd sold iron ore assets to. That was Jupiter Mines, and we've taken Jupiter Mines together from $20 million capitalization early last year to 800 million or so now, and that's only the first stage in the expansion. Meantime, of course, our shareholding went up as we put assets in, and now come down as major assets have gone in, but we're very happy with that, and that investment is already worth considerably more than £20 million in our balance sheet.
And we would expect,
well, we'd expect that investment to be one of the best performing shares in the mining sector.
Especially if the royalty
and no, but on top of that, and quite separately, we actually retained a royalty on one of the assets we'd sold into the old Jupiter before all of this happened. One of the reasons why we wanted to make sure Jupiter didn't go down the wrong road or fail to do well, because we wanted it to be in a position where it could develop this asset. That's the magnetite deposit at Mount Ida. And Jeff Wedlock, who sadly died in a plane crash earlier this year, but who had been the managing director of BHP Iron Ore and was a lifelong iron ore expert in Western Australia, he described this deposit as the best magnetite that he'd seen in Western Australia. It's flat-lying, very low stripping ratio, very low impurities, makes a high-grade concentrate. And we see every prospect of being able to create a sort of 10, 15, eventually 25 million tonnes a year. And with a 1.5% gross production royalty, that would be just fantastically good for Red Rock if we can, in 4 or 5 years, have production from that. I mean, the royalty income from that would more than justify the current market value on its own. So we're quietly pleased about that because it's a sleeper in the portfolio. And the nice thing is we don't have to do anything about it. It's just going to happen.
And what will happen, do you think, in the next 6 months with regards to news flow?
There's going to be a lot. I mean, when I say there's going to be a lot, one thing I should tell you is that I worked out a few days ago that at all times, 24 hours a day, somewhere in the world, in our company or in one of our associates' companies, a drill is drilling. So it's constant.
It's a company
I
that
think,
doesn't sleep.
Yeah, Christmas Day and a few days around that. There may be
You won't be
a
taking.
break.
You won't be taking a holiday, will you?
There may be a break, even for me.
Good.
Yeah, because Father Christmas came early this year. So, but we should have news flow. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew, and
Thanks.
we look forward to watching Red Rock Resources.